Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Linda from lindaspapercraft.co.uk and you're joining me for week 3 of May 2025's Coffee and Card using the Textured Notes bundle. It's a beautiful stamp set and set of die cut rectangles, all with different patterns on. They're absolutely gorgeous. And we are using today numbering from the middle, die 1, 5 and 6. That's 1, 5 and 6 for our card, and we're using the piece with the basket weave on. So we get everything out. So we're using the white dots this week, and then I've cut out my basic white already using the smaller die, which will be number 5, and then I've also cut out my designer series paper with number 6. I'll give you a couple of tips with this. Okay, and we're using a note card, one of Stampin' Up's note cards, which I absolutely adore, that fit. Obviously these dies were designed with American card sizes, because I think this is half an American card. I may be wrong. Probably am, that would be too big. But they're just the right shape for the dies to fit. Okay, I think they're in the same proportions of American card front to these, but it just works really, really well. Love it. Absolutely love it. So yeah, that's far too wide for an American card. Right, there you go. Right, so to get what I wanted to do with this was preserve like the center of the circle on the paper, actually have some of that in. So what I've done is I've actually cut the card, the paper, this way up. Okay, but you have to check that your pattern's going the right way. I mean, you can have it up and down, but I wanted it across. So what I did was I got my paper, which was like this, with the pattern horizontal, and then I turned it over, looked where the centre of the circle was and cut the other side, and I cut this at 9 first, so you've got this long piece that you can use in another card, and then by 12, which gives you another bit that you can use in a card as well, perhaps like that, who knows. So, but I just thought if you want to optimize the use of your front of this piece, then start that way up. Start that way up with it horizontal, turn it over, and then die cut away from the center of the circle. Okay? Yeah? If you don't mind, if you're not bothered, don't bother, just cut it out with these lines horizontal. Okay? So we're going to do some stamping on this piece, and you've also got a small piece for your sentiment. And as I say, now the only downside I think with these cards is when they're manufactured, the score line is quite faint. So I ended up this time, the first time I folded it, it was on quite an angle, so you probably can't see, but I ended up having to sort of manipulate it so it's straight. So what I've done with all of these is I've rescored them. So all of them on the line where the score was, but it's a more definite score line now, so you're more likely to get a straighter card. Okay, so other than that, the other thing to note as well, all the white card at Stampin' Up's gone up except these. These have not increased in price. So we'll do some stamping first. So I'm going to stamp with, so I'm using 3 different colours today. So I'm using Mossy Meadow, Grey Granite and Early Espresso. And I'm also using a light old olive pen to colour in those leaves. If you don't have the blender but you do have the water pen, that will work as well. And if you don't have, you can use another colour depending on what colour you stamp your leaves. So have a play. Have a look through your stash, see what you've got. So the first thing I am going to do is stamp this like raffia mat. Have you seen the quality of that image? It looks like a photograph. It's just stunning. And with the basket weave here as well, the raffia weave, it's just gorgeous. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is stamp my raffia matte in grey. Basic grey would work too. I mean, this is granite grey, or grey granite even. Smoky slate would work. Basic grey would work. The only thing with basic grey, I'd be tempted to try it stamped off. Have a look, have a play first before you actually commit to paper. So, and I'm just going to stamp that off to one side slightly, so most of it's on the page. Okay, look at that. It's stunning. How they cut that, I have no idea. In fact, this is why I bought this stamp set, for this stamp, because I just love it, because it is just so effective. So, and then we're now moving to Mossy Meadow for our leaves. It's a shame to cover it up, really. Okay, and then I'm just going to stamp our leaves, sort of trying to keep them on the square, so we are going over. We'll keep them on the rectangle, so I'll just pop them there in the Mossy Meadow. Now this, again, lots of rubber around the outside, and I did manage to catch it here, but because it's a bigger stamp it doesn't wobble. Ideally I should probably have checked and just wiped that off before I started, but I know this has been a bit of a grind with this stamp set, so, but it only takes a second to check. So, and then we will go to the early espresso, and this time I'm going to use the weaving. So I've probably gone a bit lower today than I did the other day when I was making this, so I might do a bit, just need to have a bit of a gap at the bottom there. Oh, see, I've managed to get there. Don't worry, it's going to be covered by the sentiment, but do as I say, not as I do, and check before you stamp. Because then I could have just wiped it off and we'd have been fine. Okay. And then I'm also going to stamp the sentiment in early espresso on the small piece that you've got. So, and again, we go, I love this, a little note of appreciation. It's just a really nice, hand it to your UPS man if he ever actually stays after he's knocked. He just knocks and runs. So just a little thank you to a teacher, somebody in the shops who's really helpful, you know, just thank you for your being just nice and helpful. Okay, so I did the edge of this one, so I shouldn't get a halo, so that's fine. A bit of glue there. Right, and I'm just going to cut that out using the smallest die. Right. Okay. Let's get those out of the way. Put this way. Come on, out you come. Okay, I'm just going to get this little die and pop it around a little note of appreciation. So, still on it. Those of you who watched the past weeks, I'm seeing if this piece of die tape will last the whole set of 5 coffee and cards for May, because it is a 5 Thursday month. So next week is a bonus, no, week after is a bonus card. Yeah, we're only on week 3. Oops. Okay, let's just check the paper's still straight, because it always gets messed up with the die cutting machine. Yeah, we've wandered off all over the place. There we go. Yep. Right. So I shall pop that back on my sheet. Now we just need to come back to this, and I'm going to colour in the open leaves. So, and I'm just going to use my light old olive. So I am just, I'm not doing any shading, I'm just adding a bit of extra colour. I did see a lady do this on Pinterest, and can I find it again? Nope. If I do find it, I'll put it in the links below, and the links below will have all the measurements for this card. There we go. So let's assemble. There it is. So that is not a card, that's an envelope. So first of all, I'm going to pop the designer series paper on the front of the card. I mean, to be fair, you could use either side, but now I've cut it this way, I want to use this, the other side as the front. And it does fit beautifully on this card. Clearly it has been designed for this shape of card. And this goes on next. Oops, sticky. There we go. And then I'm just going to pop this onto some dimensionals. So we're down to using the bones, scissors. I'll just use this corner. There we are. Let's have a look. Yes, I've just put it hanging over the side there. So put it just short of the edge. Just pop it up a bit so you can see more of the basket weave underneath. And then I've just scattered some of the white dots from that neutral matte dots, which are in the new catalogue. Oh no, they're an online, I think they're an online exclusive. Have a look online, there's loads of stuff online. So I think it's part of this suite. So the textured notes are an online exclusive, so if you are looking for them, you do have to go to the online exclusives, or just search textured notes in the search bar at the top. I think Stampin' Up! Moving towards more online, and this year's catalogue definitely is smaller than last year's. Oh, for goodness sake, come on, come on. Got it. So it's always worth keeping an eye on the online store, as there are some amazing stuff there. Okay, I'll put it there. There we go. And that's card number 3 in the bag. So I hope you've enjoyed that. A nice, quick, simple card that really shows off those stamps. And I look forward to speaking to you next week. Bye.